Welcome, dear listeners. Today we are going to discuss the policy of war communism implemented by the Bolsheviks during the Russian Civil War from 1918 to 1921. This was an effort to control the economy and direct resources to support the Red Army. Let's explore how nationalization, forced grain acquisition, and centralized production led to economic disruption and widespread famine.
Nationalization of industry. A key component of war communism was the nationalization of all industry, factories, and means of production. The Bolsheviks seized control of private enterprises and placed them under the management of the state. This allowed the central government to direct industrial output towards the needs of the military and to redistribute resources as needed.
Requisition of agricultural surplus. In addition to nationalization of industry, the Bolsheviks also implemented a policy of requisitioning all agricultural surpluses from peasants. Peasants were required to hand over any extra grain or crops they produced beyond what they needed for personal consumption. This was done to ensure adequate food supplies for the cities and the military, but it sparked widespread resentment and resistance among the peasantry.
Abolition of money and market relations. Elimination of currency. Under war communism, the Bolsheviks abolished the use of money and eliminated market-based economic relations. Wages were paid in kind rather than cash, and a system of centralized distribution of goods was established.
Elimination of trade. The elimination of money and market relations also led to the abolition of private trade and the free market. All economic transactions were controlled and directed by the state, leading to shortages and further economic disruption.
Centralized distribution. The Bolsheviks attempted to replace the free market with a centralized system of distribution, where goods were allocated by the state according to perceived needs. This led to widespread inefficiency and a breakdown in the supply of basic necessities.
Consequences of war communism, economic collapse. The policies of war communism, including the nationalization of industry, requisition of agricultural surplus, and abolition of money and markets, led to a severe economic collapse. Industrial production plummeted and the country faced widespread shortages of basic goods and supplies.
Famine and hardship. The distribution of agricultural production and food distribution caused by war communism contributed to a devastating famine that affected millions of people across Russia. Mortality rates soared and the population faced widespread deprivation and hardship.
Consequences of war communism, social unrest. The harsh measures of war communism, such as the requisition of peasant crops, sparked widespread social unrest and rebellion. Peasants, workers, and even some Bolshevik supporters turned against the regime, leading to a breakdown in social order and political stability.
A new economic policy, acknowledging failure. By 1921, the Bolsheviks recognized that the policies of war communism had failed to achieve their goals and had led to severe economic and social consequences. This prompted a shift towards a new economic policy known as a New Economic Policy. Partial restoration of capitalism. The NEP represented a partial return to capitalist economic practices, including the reintroduction of private trade, the use of money, and the restoration of limited market relations. This was a pragmatic move to address the widespread shortages and the economic collapse caused by war communism. Gradual transition to socialism. While the NEP restored some capitalist elements, it was intended to be a temporary measure to stabilize the economy and prepare the ground for a gradual transition to socialist system. The Bolsheviks hoped to use the NEP to rebuild the country's economic and industrial base before researching their social agenda.
Conclusion. Radical transformation. The policy of war communism was a bold and ambitious attempt by the Bolsheviks to rapidly transform Russia's economy into a socialist system, with the goal of supporting the Bolshevik war effort during the Russian Civil War. Shift to the NEP. Recognizing the failure of war communism, the Bolsheviks introduced the new economic policy, NEP, a temporary return to some capitalist practices to stabilize the economy and prepare for a gradual transition to socialism. Economic and social collapse. However, the policies of war communism, including the nationalization of industry, requisition of agriculture surplus, and abolition of money and markets, led to a severe economic collapse, widespread famine, and social unrest.